Hey guys, okay, we are still not sick, but we still don't sound good, so our voice is still a little, we're still congested, we still need nasal spray. I meant to, or planned to film so much more during December, but between getting sick in November, work stuff, life stuff. Anyway, I do want to do like the top products I used during 2022. I feel like I didn't upload a lot during last year. So there's a lot of products I tried that I probably never even got a chance to share with you. So I want to kind of, you know, pick those off and like share them with you. So I'm going to do concealer, foundation, powder, bronzer, blush in this video. And then we'll do another video with eyes and lips because I didn't want to like take anything out and I didn't want this video to be too long. So we'll just do 2 videos. So let's start off with complexion. So we'll do foundation first. The iconic London Skin Tint, I'll put all the products as well as my shades in the description. This released this year, it's the Super Smoother Blurring Skin Tint. I am a big fan of this. I think it's so pretty. It's very lightweight. It is, I think this skin tint is more than a tint, but it's not quite like a foundation per se. And it has a bit of moisturizing elements to it. I think in, you know, winter, and if you have like more mature skin or if you're just drier than a normal dry person, you might still need to prep your skin better for this. Similarly is the Fenty Beauty Eaze Drop. This is something I bought when it first released, did not like it, tried it again, still didn't like it, like within like the same year. And I kept seeing people talk about it in videos and whatnot, and I'm like, maybe it is, maybe I'm missing something. I love it now. I think it's one of the best things. I reach for these interchangeably. So kind of skin tint adjacent, we have the Beautyblender Bounce Foundation. I don't know if this is new or not. I feel like I haven't seen it before, and I saw it at Sephora at some point last year, and I figured out my shade and picked it up during a sale. This is probably the most lightweight thing I have in this video that I'm gonna show you as far as complexion goes. It's not super glowy. It's kind of a glowy satin type thing. The coverage is light. I just use this on days when I just want to even out my skin, and I just really enjoy it. So it's in this video. The Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Foundation. I feel like there's very mixed reviews on this. In fact, I think a lot of the complexion products I'm going to share with you, I felt were kind of mixed. This seemed to be more of like a batch situation with people, like within the same shade. Some people were like, I bought 2 different ones and one looked really greasy on me and the other one just kind of looked, you know, not greasy, just glowy. I am kind of like in the not greasy. I never thought this looked too much, like too glowy on me. So I really enjoyed this. And I think this definitely has more coverage than these 2, for sure. This is, you know, it's supposed to look like skin, but it's still a foundation. So I guess it's not really marketed as a skin tint. There's just this idea sometimes nowadays when I see things in like a squeezy tube, I'm like, oh, it's a skin tint. I don't know. Some kind of marketing has fully infiltrated my brain there. The NARS Light Reflecting Foundation. I think this is across the board one of the most popular foundations this year. It seems like kind of regardless of skin type, a lot of people enjoy this, and I think the reason is while it does say light reflecting, it's not telling you it's going to be glowing or super moisturizing. The light reflecting element just kind of bounces off your skin in a way that evens out your skin tone in a really great way. So I think on most people it does not appear super glowy. Similar to that is the No. 1 de Chanel foundation. This was released this year, or 2022. I'm not saying these are similar. I think this one definitely has a little bit more of a glow to it, but it's similar in that I think a lot of people have used this foundation and kind of regardless of skin type, it still looks pretty good. I mean, this is pricier. It is less glowy. So if like your issue is this being too glowy, I would recommend this to you, but for the price point, maybe there is something else, you know, but this is a beautiful foundation. The last 2 foundations I'm going to share with you. First one is the Hourglass Ambient Soft Glow Foundation. I took a long time to pick this up because this is the first year where I actually started picking up Hourglass again. I probably went on a no-buy for Hourglass for years. So I'm glad they finally got it together and got us the shades so that we can all of us can find something. I mean, at least mostly all. This is the most non-glowy foundation in the mix. If you have kind of naturally glowy skin, or if you prep with a glowy base, yes, the glow will come through, but otherwise it is kind of like a clean skin look, and not like clean girl. I mean like as in like you've just cleansed your face and removed all product from it, and it kind of has that look to it. So whatever your skin might naturally look like without makeup, that level of reflect or not reflect is what I think you would get here. Even in winter right now, it has definitely hit below 0 here at some point. Right now we're kind of riding this weird wave of like where it's like in a 50-60 degree weather, but then also it will drop to like 30-40 the next day and it will snow. So this still works as long as I know, if I have an idea in my mind to wear this, it will be fine. As long as I prep properly, it's really pretty. Like if I don't want to look too glowy, and I also probably don't want to use any powder that day, this is a great foundation. Okay, let's quickly talk about some correctors. I'm just gonna go tell you right now, my absolute favorite one this year is the Milani Conceal and Perfect in the shade 02 Melon. It has a sponge tip applicator. I've picked up the contour in here, I've picked up the highlight. I enjoy all of them, but this in particular, I've only had this for a couple months. When I tell you, I put this on under the eyes, around the nose, around the mouth, and if I have any kind of healed blemish, so there's like a dark spot, it works like an actual eraser on my skin. I picked up the shade, the lighter shade from my mom, because she is lighter than me and she's more cool tone, and the lighter one is a little more pinky. I might even pick that up for myself and use it as a highlight. But this is so phenomenal. It's so light, but it also corrects like a dream. Second to that one, I think would be the Bobbi Brown Skin Concealer Stick. This, again, I've used like a really good amount of it. Again, you just swipe and it's really, really, really pretty. And this I think is good if you want to keep layering your corrector. Not that you can't layer this, but when something is more watery and thin, if you keep layering it on, I don't think this formula is meant to do that kind of thing. Next kind of concealer slash corrector is the Peche Lowlighter from Rodial. And I originally started with the banana, and it's included in this video, but I probably picked this up, I don't know, maybe a couple years ago. And it is beautiful. On days when I really feel like it's darker under here, I will use this just as my concealer slash corrector all in one. The Chanel corrector, this is in the shade Peche. It doesn't look like I've used much, but I've definitely, like, when I first got it, I definitely went in on it. This is also a really, really beautiful formula. I'd heard about the Chanel concealer corrector range for a really long time. I just never picked it up. But again, because they've been carrying at Ulta, I don't know if that was proper grammar right there, but I've tried so much more Chanel items and I do enjoy a lot of them. And this again is the newest one that has been released kind of in this category. It's the Rare Beauty. This is really beautiful. I have the shade light medium. I actually have been using this as the color corrector, and then this is my concealer, because this does have a little bit of coverage. It is not just like a brightener or just a corrector. It kind of does all three things, right? Concealer, brightening, correcting, and it does kind of have that really cool, you know, metal tip. I'm into it. Some might say they're not getting enough product at once. I am never having an issue with you putting less product on my face. I am never gonna complain about that. So even though this is new, I wanted to include it because I think it's really, really good and a lot of people could enjoy this, whether you be a like full on makeup, full face makeup wearer, or you just like minimal makeup, or you just want a little brightening, a little touch up so you look more awake. Perfect. For face powders, my Kagendo, every time it gets a little cold, we bring it back out, and it's just the most perfect loose powder for the under eye, for your face, everything. This is kind of not new to my collection, but it's sat in my collection for a while, and I tend to only bring it out in the summer. But then I started just, I just ran my nail through it also in the process of that. It is so mattifying, but it's so mattifying in a pretty way. I use a brush to run it through my brows before I do my makeup, and then I'll use like a puff on it to mattify any areas that are too glowy, and it just stays not glowy for so much longer. So this has been like in constant daily use for like months now. Two powders that are kind of similar. I'm on my second compact of the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish. I did pick up the new one. I talked about it in a different video, and I'm like kind of whatever about it. Like, it's fine. I'm not obsessed. This, again, second compact. I always hate missing out on the the Lunar New Year type compacts. I always like, oh, maybe I'll just get one anyway, because I just think, you know, anytime Lunar New Year stuff comes out, I'm always very interested. I always love the packaging of things. Anyway, yes, love this. Just, it is airbrushed. Under the eyes, on the face. I like it everywhere. While I was waiting for my second compact to come in, I shifted for a month or two, and I used the Flower Beauty Light Illusion. This is not dissimilar. It has a little more color, and I would say it's like slightly less finely milled, but like not by a lot. And I love this. I created a decent like divot in it, so I'm a big fan. Ephemeral evergreen favorite is the Makeup Forever. I have my old one, I have my new one, and we've already hit pan on the new one, so I use this a lot. This is one that's supposed to be more like a powder foundation type thing, but I just use it as a regular powder or to add coverage, but I'm a big fan of this. And then this is the 3C Stylenanda Contour Face Contouring Tuning Palette, and I've already purchased my backup of this, but I constantly would use this as like a contour or a bronzer, or this one is like, I've started using this one too as like kind of like a touch-up lighter type contour. And then this powder is just so brightening. I've already hit pan on this, and this is what I use to blend out my eyeshadow when I'm trying to diffuse things or kind of lift the brow. So big fan of this. Okay, so I am one of the many that fully bought into this whole like Hollywood Flawless filter underneath your foundation or mixed with your foundation. I've jumped on this bandwagon, this train. We love it. We love it a lot. Sorry, something weird happening in my teeth right now. There is something that happens where you apply this and you apply a foundation on top of it, and then once you kind of see that, you're like, that's how I always want my skin to look. I have two shades here. I would recommend purchasing the small ones, just for ease, for travel, for knowing that you can probably finish it if you really enjoy the product. These I probably purchased, you know, this one is probably, I don't know, a couple years. This one's a year old, but I've since started purchasing the smaller ones because I just love the way it looks. Along the same lines is the e.l.f. one, which is less glowy, I think. Definitely less glowy, and it provides more coverage. But I think the shade range, I think I have the lightest shade. This is the lightest shade. I do not believe this should be the lightest shade, so I'm just saying, but I do really love it. And if this is too glowy for you and you're like, I don't know why people like it, try the e.l.f. one. And as far as another drugstore product goes, is the Maybelline 4-in-1 Glow Makeup. I have the shade Light. This is really good. I have used this all over my face as my foundation, and then use that Milani Corrector, and just kind of went on my day because it looks so good. This, I think, has more coverage, again, than these. This actually could look like a really lightweight foundation on you, so I am a big fan. I even purchased, I think, one of the darker shades as like a bronzer. It's just all really pretty. It's very seamless. It's super easy to apply, and I am a big fan. Okay, I've been loving a variety of concealers this year. We'll talk about ones that are slightly older. The NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer, I've had this in my collection probably since it released, and I've always had one in my collection. It's just never left. The mini concealer I keep in my purse is also the NARS Radiant Concealer because it is not super drying, but it has a lot of coverage. I can apply a little if I'm trying to do something during the day to touch up, but I can also, if randomly something appears on my face, I can use this and generally cover it up. So I really love it. I have in the shade Macadamia. I think I use this because it's kind of like a corrector / concealer, but I probably think something like Custard is probably more like my actual shade. But whenever I am trying to cover anything darker, when I use Custard, it's almost too brightening. So Macadamia is kind of like that safe place for me. And the same thing goes with the Soft Matte Complete. I have Custard and Macadamia in these two as well. I have repurchased both of these. So NARS is like it doesn't leave the collection. It never leaves the rotation. So I use these to really carve out my brows a lot of the times. I also have, you know, faulty microblading from years and years ago that I also just kind of use this to cover up. It doesn't cover it up completely, but it makes it that unless you're super close to my face, you're not going to see anything weird. So I really love that. The Anastasia concealers, I think these did not release in 2022, maybe a year or two before that. I still reach for these. I still think they're really pretty. I think they look beautiful as foundation, and I still do enjoy them under the eyes. And then the Banana Lowlighter, which is not new, but I still use it all the time. I don't think there's any highlighter in this collection. I didn't use highlighter that much this year, so I feel like this is what I would use. This is what I have down the nose today. It's generally my nose highlight. It's my favorite. Okay, lastly, these concealers are probably the top favorite, and I use these interchangeably. It's 3 different concealers, even though there's like 6 different ones here. So Kulfi is probably the newest one in my collection, and it's the Ice Ice Berry shade. I have it on today on top of the Milani Corrector, and it's just really pretty. It's just the thing that's similar of all of these. So we have the NYX Bear With Me concealer as well as the Winky Lux. I have 3 different shades here, but they look really beautiful. For me, when it comes to concealer, it's all about, you know, and I think most of us, fine lines. I have like 2 or 3 here that I pay attention to, and I have kind of 1 here that's like longer. So if anything emphasizes that, I'm immediately just, that's not the concealer for me, right? So these 3 I just use interchangeably. Maybe looks like I use the NYX one the most. Like you can see that's probably the most used, but I've also had this one longer than all the other ones. We have beige for the under eyes, golden is for the face or the under eyes to mix depending on the season. I love all of these the mostest. Okay, so let's talk about contour, and then we'll talk about bronzer kind of together but separate, you know what I mean? So I have some sticks that I really love for bronzer. We have the Westman Atelier in Biscuit. You can tell it's quite cool toned. I also have Truffle, which is darker, deeper, that I can use as a bronzer or a contour. We have the Fenty Matchstick in Amber. Get the small one, because honestly, it's just so perfect. You can do your chin, get the tops of your cheekbones, not the tops, like underneath the tops of your cheekbones. And that trick that we've been seeing on TikTok where you take and you rub between your fingers and you snatched. It is the most perfectly right here. Like, stop trying to use a brush anymore. Just use your fingers and it's absolute perfection. And then the M Cosmetics So Soft in the shade Terra. This is, again, quite cool tone. And I have this on today, and I layered like a powder bronzer on top of it. But for me, I am just someone that likes a cool tone. Cool to neutral tone. I don't like when things look orange because I just don't like the way that looks on my skin. I know some people really like that. And in the past couple of years, I've really gotten into wearing blush. So whenever the bronzer is too orange and I want to do like a peachy or pink or whatever color blush, I just feel like it looks like I have a lot of blush on because the bronzer now looks like blush. I know a lot of people like that look. I do not. And then 2 other, I just spit real far. The Neo Nude Melting Color Balms from Giorgio Armani. This one is in the shade 20. I love this as like a bronzer slash contour, as well as this is Stylenanda. I'm a big fan of Stylenanda, and this is in the shade Soft Brown, and it's their Cushion. This is more of like a bronzer contour type shade, but I've also got the blushes to show you too because I really like those. A couple more bronzer sticks. The Makeup by Mario Light Medium. I like this sometimes and I don't like this sometimes. Like when you look at it, it does look a little more cool, neutral, but then sometimes on me, I think it looks a little warm, not overly warm. So this is kind of like a weird one for me. Like I like it and then I don't like it sometimes. Sometimes it looks amazing, and then it could really be maybe my foundation choice. It could be what I'm wearing. I'm not really sure, but regardless, the formula is excellent. The Rare Beauty, this was out of stock ever since it released, and whenever it would be back in stock, I'd like think about it and then I wouldn't get it. But finally, you know, we got it, and I have a lot of Rare Beauty near the end of the year that I tried out. This just blends like so easy, so fast, like you can't mess this up. Bronzers, the Huda Beauty Soft Radiance ones, I've got Tan Light here. This is my most used shade. Recently, near the end of the sale season in December, I picked up the shade Rich, which is significantly darker. However, this is beautiful as contour. It's dark, but it's super blendable. So when I use these two together, I get this really perfect look that I really enjoy. And this, for smoky eyeshadow, I obsessively use this for like 2 weeks straight to do, what was that ugly face? To do like my base color. Typically I use Bobbi Brown Camel, which is what I use today. It's like the first eyeshadow I'll put all over the lid, underneath and everything. I started using this when I want to go deeper, darker. The tone of this is so pretty. It's kind of reddish, purplish, brownish on the eyes. But again, contour. So this has been like a new love, but I mean, old love in that like I've loved this formula for so long. The next is the Glowish Luminous Press Powder in Tan Light from Huda Beauty. This I picked up to use as a bronzer, obviously. I do have the face powder version, which I'll use every so often, but this as a bronzer, beautiful. The NARS Laguna, I picked this up on its first release. I believe it has now been released with like at least 5 shades. I still think this is the best shade for me. It's Laguna. It has a little bit cool tone, and it's just really pretty. The Soft Sculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer, I have the shade Light Medium from Makeup by Mario. I hear Mario and Mario. I think it might be Mario, yeah? Anyway, this is stunning. Whether it's on camera or in person, this is a stunning product. It's kind of cream to powder, more cream to powder, cream powder. You know, it's more like cream to cream powder in my mind. It does set, but not fully. So again, I'll use something like this face powder from Huda Beauty to set it a little bit, because this doesn't, it's not, you know, it's not gonna be super drying. I've also really loved the Sunkissed Glow Bronzer, the Beautiful Skin range from Charlotte Tilbury. Big fan of this. You can see just, you know, we've attacked this many a time with a brush and a sponge, etc. Again, this shade is number 1, Fair Pale. This was also sold out a lot when it first released, and I finally got it like in store. Love it. Now, I think if you have really dry skin or even really oily skin, I feel like this is, it's kind of like a stiffer cream. So I think this could turn some people off. And I think with this kind of product, and even maybe the NARS one, depending on how you store your makeup, or if you keep your makeup, it's like a cooler room, I think it does affect these products a little bit. Like you might not get a lot on your brush, or you might have to dig your brush in there to get it, and then you have too much on your brush and then it doesn't look good. I'm not saying, oh my God, baby your makeup and temperature control them, but I feel like these two products are kind of like that, where they could go too stiff and you might not like that. Liquid blush, we've got the Rare Beauty. I love these. I have this one on today in Bliss. I don't know if we can see it. Yeah, I think we can see it. You can see it right there too. Beautiful. Just a little dab. And I even do one dab, blend it out, and then I do another dab and I blend it out. I can't do it any other way. And then again, the Stylenanda, these are, to me, I think of them as like liquid blushes because it's a liquid in here. And again, so beautiful. The Rare Beauty blush, their brush that came out with those blushes is also perfect. Here's another one. I love these. So good. Okay, we're gonna finish off with powder blushes, the Dior, both of these. I got really into this kind of pink. There's a Bobbi Brown one that looks very similar to this. There's a Persona, I think it's Bubble. I have that one. I got that one later in the year. Love that one. I'm kind of interested in the cream version of that, but we'll see. We don't need it, that's for sure, but love these. These are just so pretty. I'm actually surprised at how popular these blushes are, that they haven't come out with more shades. Like, I am actually really surprised. If you're in Asia, let me know. Maybe they'll come out with some there. The Gucci blush, the Love It, but you don't need it. But if you have it, or if someone gives it to you, you should definitely be like, oh my God. The formula is so beautiful. It looks so perfect on the skin. The packaging is gorgeous, but it is very expensive. So don't buy this unless, you know, I don't know. Buy it. Buy it if you can. Don't buy it. I don't know. I don't care. But it's good. The Armani Neo Nude. This one is in the shade 51. These are kind of like a cream to powder in my mind. More powder than cream. And similar to that is the Huda Beauty. This is in the shade Sassy Saffron. This is the newer one, but I have like 2 or 3 of these. Again, more cream than powder. No, more powder than cream, but it's still like that kind of, that category. This one is silkier, smoother. This one is slightly stiffer. So it just really depends. I mean, they're both super beautiful. Okay, so that kind of wraps up the 2022 favorites slash things I tried slash most loved favorites for foundation, concealer, powder, blush, bronzer, contour, etc. So stay tuned. It should be next week. We'll have the eyes and the lips up. So yeah, I will see you then. Bye-bye.